Welcome everyone to the New Fly Fisher. I'm your host, Bill Spicer. On this week's show, we're in Labrador, and we're at Cooper's Minipi Camps. The targeted fish, crimson-colored brook trout, and I'm talking big brook trout. We'll talk about equipment, flies, and technique. It's gonna be a great show, so folks, stick around. We'll be right back.
Oh, baby, look at that fish. Very good fish.
Another fine, beautiful steelhead technique.
This is a good example of the family aptogeneity. This is why you need a lot of backing.
This week, the New Fly Fisher crew is the guest of Cooper's Minipi Camps, located 70 miles southwest of Goose Bay in the remote wilderness of Labrador. The absolute beauty of Labrador will surely take your breath away. Minipi is known for superb brook trout fishing, and the camps boast many records broken by their guests. Brook trout of 5 pounds are an average size here and not a rarity. As I'm a brook trout fanatic, I'm extremely excited about this trip. First cast. I can't get over this. This is, I put on a cone head, I guess it'd be like a muddler minnow. And first cast, this guy grabbed it. Oh, it's a decent fish too. Real decent fish. Now this is just decent fish for up here. The fish up here are quite large. This is an 8-weight rod and he's got it all bent. I have a sink tip on here. A long sink tip, it's about 12 feet long. With about 4 feet of 12-pound test. So I can really put the boots to this guy if I need to. That did not take long, and this is a really good fish. And it's dressed out in its fall colors. This is a really good fish. Oh my God, this is definitely, oh my goodness. How's that for first fish?
Probably 5 pounds.
That's a good 5-pounder. Not bad for a start, I guess. I'm gonna put a glove on here so I can hold him properly and show the camera. How's that for the first fish of the day? Look at that fish. The colors were dressed out in fall. It's a male, as you can tell. If you look at his bottom jaw, he has a hook in it. It's called a kype. And that's not bad for a first fish. Let's put him back. And away he goes. Well, I'll tell you, Minipi is the place. First cast. I can't get over that. It is, we even got a late start. It's 9:30 in the morning. So you get to sleep in here too, that's nice. When I was planning this trip, I was told most fish would be taken either on a mouse pattern or on streamers retrieved near the bottom. I had taken my first fish on a heavily weighted streamer, but as the morning progressed, I was pleasantly surprised to see a mayfly hatch, and the fish all of a sudden could be seen feeding just under the surface. See the fin out right by my fly?
Yes, I do. You're going right over to your fly right there.
Knowing this situation could be short-lived, I soon changed my tactics to fish with an emerger pattern just under the surface. This is a deadly all-round method of taking trout. There we go. Yes, sir. You're right. You were right. Oh, and he let go. You were right, though. I gave it a little twitch and he took it. Oh, that was exciting. Whoa. We got a bunch of fish in front of us here, not just one. There's 4, 5, 6. They're stacking up in this area, getting ready for the spawn. But they're still taking them, and then right now they're taking emergers. We've seen a lot of boils around here, and then we noticed some mayflies coming off, and so Herb suggested I put an emerger on. They're just underneath the surface, so we'll try again. Oh, that was exciting. Yeah. Well, what's happening is we have a lot of fish in this little narrows here they call lover boy, and they're up near the surface. Well, I can see them quite clearly with my polarized glasses on, and they're taking emergers right now. We got a bit of a mayfly hatch happening, and we've had a few swirls, but they're not coming up and taking the dry flies. They're eating just below the surface. So what I've done was I put on an emerger, and it's just a dark emerger. I'm not really trying to match the hatch, but they're feeding just under the surface. So this is what I've done, and I put just a tiny, tiny, tiny micro shot in order to get this under the surface. When I first put it on, it was floating right on top, and I didn't want that. I want it underneath the surface, and I'm giving a very, very slow retrieve, and I might twitch it every once in a while. There we go. Got a good one too. Good one, good one. Yes, sir. Oh yeah, look at him take the line out. The line just stopped there. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yes. This is Labrador fishing at its best. Oh yeah. He's actually pulling the boat around. Can you believe that? He just touched the side of the boat, and I got to be very careful of that. You can snap your leader very easily by touching the side of the boat. Okay. There we go. Now, that is a quality Minipi brook trout, and he's dressed in his fall colors. You must come to Minipi. Absolutely spectacular. Wowee. Oh yeah. And away he goes. Oh. Emerger fishing in Labrador. Didn't expect that. I expected to take them on big topwater patterns and sinking tips and stuff like that. Did not expect emergers, but you must be versatile. Let's get back at it. Oh. Okay.
The best time to come up here would be likely the month of July. That's our peak hatch time when you have both the greens and the brown drakes hatching. Before that, in the month of June, the fishing is a little bit easier, but the fish are a little washed out from not feeding throughout the winter and just eating other minnows and such. This time of year, when you go from the end of August into September, the fishing is quite more challenging, but the reward is really there. I mean, if you look at the fish right now, they're so red and so beautiful. It's probably the finest time of year if you really, really appreciate brook trout.
Take a look at it, baby. Come on. It's definitely See it moving?
Yes, I did.
Move for it.
It's gone right by, right?
Yep. There's 3 there now. Probably more that I don't see. That fly's a little more buoyant than the other. I'm just gonna add just a tiny, tiny, tiny shot above it so it'll sink proper. There we go. Fish on. I don't think I need to, Herb. This is a good fish. Look at this. Oh, yeah. Yes. Oh, yes. He come a long way for that. I seen a big rush of water. And just another. Woo, boy. Look at that. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Whoa. Folks, this, again, look at the fish. Look at the fish. Incredible. I defy you to get better fishing anywhere. Oh, yeah. Minipi, brook trout, dressed up in its fall colors. Absolutely spectacular. Beautiful, beautiful brookie. And I wait till I can feel his tail, him wanting to swim away from me. And away he goes. Oh. I'm going to talk a little bit about the rods and the reels you need to bring to Labrador. My recommendation and what I've found in my experience, you're going to need a little heavier rods, 6 and 7 weight rods, simply because you're going to be casting big flies and weighted systems. Your rods will need to be a little stiffer than other rods. You don't want a dry fly rod because you're casting big flies for long distances. Your reels, you're going to need large arbor reels. Simply being, some fish do tend to run directly at you, and you need some method of taking up the line fast, and a large arbor reel will do that. And smooth drag systems. I burnt my fingers earlier today on one that hit and drew out the line so fast it actually burnt my fingers. So that's how powerful these fish are. So again, 6 and 7 weight rods, large arbor reels. Let's talk a little bit about the lines you're going to need when you come to Labrador. First off, at this time of year, which is Labor Day weekend, most of the fishing is subsurface, so you're going to need some sort of sinking system. This one I have is a sink tip, which I found you did not need a full sink line. A sink tip was enough, but it's a type 6 sink tip. It sinks very fast right to the bottom, and I even used a little bit of split shot at the end of my fly to get it right and hold it down the bottom. So the type 6 sink tip is what you're going to need. You might also want to bring along an intermediate sinking line that will sink at a slower rate for those fish that are about halfway up in the water column. The other line you're going to need when coming to Labrador is a full floating line. This will be for your bombers, for your mouse patterns, and in this case, emerger fishing. What I had to do though too was lengthen up the leader, but I'll get into that later. A full floating line is what you want, and my advice to you is to bring something such as a bass taper because you're casting large wind-resistant flies in the bombers and the mouse patterns, and the bass taper will actually turn it over faster for you and make it much easier to cast.
The further you go, the deeper it's going to get as you go down through.
Where are most of the fish?
Well, they sit in all along here.
Close to the bank?
Yeah, yeah. Right in this ripple mostly.
Okay.
When you sit here. But down around where Brian is to and on down mostly. But you will pick up the odd one up here.
Go on down, come on.
Give me that big fucking whip again.
Okay, got him. Got him. Now this one feels a little better. Yeah, feels a lot better. Look at the reel. Stonefly under an indicator. Same type of nymph fishing that you would do back home, you can do in Labrador. This guy's gone right over into the calm water. I got a good 12-pound tippet on there, so I should be able to do well with him. Oh, he's a good fish. He's a good fish. Yep. And I'll get Herb to get the net and stick him in there. Thank you very much, Herb. Now let's just be careful with him. I don't want to hurt him. Now, typical Minipi brook trout, about 3 pounds. Hit the stonefly very hard. Great fight. Got to come to Minipi, and away he goes. When running a nymph, it's very easy to make your next cast. This isn't your overhead typical tight loop cast. All you do is wait for your line to straighten out downstream, and wherever you point the tip of your rod, the line will go. So all I'm going to do is direct it upstream, right there, exactly where I want it to go. It comes down, and the indicator goes beside me here, I lift up, and as it goes away from me, I drop down. And that will keep you a nice drag-free drift for a long distance. Straighten out, I pick it up and just throw it upstream. And wherever I point the tip of my rod, that's where the line will go.
Here's the tying recipe for the peacock soft hackle emerger pattern we use today. The hook is a Mustad C53S in sizes 12 through 16. The thread was black 8/0 or 6/0. The rib is fine silver wire. The body is peacock herl wrapped, and the hackle is a soft partridge hackle tied collar style.
Now Rob, you've taken me into this really beautiful area here. It's a gorge. You tell me there's lots of fish around here. Now, where exactly are we for the people at home? Let us know exactly what we're doing here.
Well, we've flown into our Minipi Lodge, which is on the actual Minipi Lake, which is the largest of the lakes in the Minipi system. We're just actually about a 10-minute walk from the lodge down to the lower portion, just below the Minipi River and the Minipi Falls.
Okay, all right. Now, how many camps do you actually have?
We have 4 lodges on the system. We're the only outfitter on the entire watershed.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, so you got a choice of this type of fishing, river fishing, lake fishing, so you can complete it all.
You can do a little bit of everything, and each lodge is unique in its own aspects. Some are more suited for chasing large brook trout in the lakes during dry fly time, and some have more opportunities for river fishing. So there's kind of a unique sets of opportunities to fish in each place.
Now, being realistic, if a person came here, what size of fish could they, for instance, a brook trout, could they expect to catch?
I think Minipi Lodge typically produces, according to statistics, slightly larger fish. A little Minipi, probably a slightly smaller fish. This section where we are right now, we could probably expect to catch 1 to 4 pound brook trout very consistently. Small ones.
Yeah.
Small ones, little guys.
Lots of fun though.
Yeah.
Let's go through the flies I've used on this trip. They cover right from the bottom to the top. First off, this is probably one of the better streamers that I use. It's just a silver-bodied streamer. It's got a big red piece of fluff on the butt part of it there, and I think that's what attracted them. And what we're doing right now is trying to invoke violent attack. They're not very tolerant right now. They're in their spawning mode, and they're vicious, and they push everything away that they can. That was the latest one we used. Probably the most productive flies that I used on this trip were muddler minnows. I used them with a sink tip, plus a little bit of lead to get them right down to the bottom. And there was two basic colors that we used. First was our yellow one, and then an orange one. Both of them produced about the same amount of fish. For some reason I like it. The pike really like them, so they're a good all-round fly for Labrador. On top, mouse patterns. I took them on mouse patterns, and they are a lot of fun. Now, at this time of year, they're not hitting mouse patterns a lot because they're in spawning mode. They got other things on their mind right now, and they're just trying to be territorial and keep everything away. So I didn't take a lot on the mouse patterns, although at different times of year, that's probably your most effective pattern. Then we have stone flies that I was using. And this happens to be a Kaufman stone, and I think it worked because of it's got rubber legs on it, and it looks very buggy. And when I set them up the same way as you would nymph anywhere else, with an indicator and some split shot to get it down, and this worked very well. And finally, probably the most fun I had was we come across one morning, they were up, there was a hatch going on, and the fish were taking emergers. We could actually see them on top. And so what I used here was an emergence pattern. All it is a wet fly. The body is made of peacock herl and just a collared with the little guinea fowl there, and it's just a soft tackle wet fly that I used as an emerger that was just underneath the surface, probably 2 inches under the surface. I did not use any weight at all. That was probably the most fun I had of all the fish I took this week, was that pattern there. I got Herb to move us down just a bit. They seem to be stacked in one area. And the first cast, I got one. Wow. Lots of power. Lots of power. And big fish too. Big fish here. I can't say enough about the fish. And just a second there. There we go. Okay, yeah. Yeah, get Herb to pull that fly. Oh, and he's got to look at the chunk out of the side of him. Something's grabbed this, an otter or talons of a bird. Look at that. You can see right there, that's the tag. But boy, that's quite the gash on the side of this fish. And he's still eating. That's amazing. That's amazing. He's just about ready to go. I wait until I feel him start to kick. Now I can feel him start to kick, and then I let him go. And wait. Oh, that was interesting. Quite the mark on it there. Osprey might have got it, and an eagle are in this area, and there's otters around here, isn't there? Herb?
Yeah.
An otter might have bit it. I don't know, but that looks like a big talon mark to me. That's quite interesting. Well, make sure you tune in next week for part 2 of my great adventure at Minipi camps. For more information on today's show and other shows in our series, visit us on the web at thenewflyfisher.com. From all of us here at The New Fly Fisher, thanks for joining us. Tight lines, and we'll see you next week.
The New Fly Fisher is a valuable educational tool for any angler. Copies of the series are available on DVD and VHS. One episode is $24.99, or you can buy 3 episodes on one DVD for only $39.99. 26 episode season packages are available with special pricing for fly fishing clubs. To order, call 1-866-375-5166 or online at www.thenewflyfisher.com.